Hey everyone, these photos have stories. Some will stick with you. On May 11, 1945, while supporting the invasion of Okinawa, the aircraft carrier Bunker Hill was hit by two Japanese kamikaze planes 30 seconds apart. Nearly 400 sailors were killed. A Woman Underwater, 1947. The photographer was shooting in the crystal-clear freshwater springs of Florida. The water was so transparent, it created an illusion of weightlessness, almost like floating in a dream. A Hopi girl wearing the traditional butterfly whirl hairstyle, 1922. Edward Curtis spent his life documenting Native American peoples before their cultures were destroyed. This hairstyle was traditionally worn by unmarried young women. On February 8, 1943, a Yugoslav partisan woman was captured by German forces and sentenced to be hanged. When offered her life in exchange for the names of her comrades, she refused. September 17, 1862, still the single bloodiest day in American history. At the Battle of Antietam, more than 22,000 men were killed, wounded, or went missing. The Scourged Back, April 2, 1863. Gordon escaped from a plantation, and during his military medical examination, he showed what had been done to him. This photograph became one of the most important images of the 19th century. The execution of the Lincoln assassination conspirators, July 7, 1865. This was the first public criminal trial in U.S. history for the organizers of a political assassination. The photograph captures the moment the trapdoors dropped. On April 18, 1906, an earthquake destroyed much of San Francisco. But it wasn't the quake itself that killed most people. It was the fires that burned for 3 days afterward. Einstein at a radio station, April 23, 1921. He had just been awarded the Nobel Prize and was visiting the United States for the first time. The photo shows him touring a radio station in New Jersey alongside some of the country's leading scientists and engineers. 1908. Lewis Hine spent years traveling to mines and factories, posing as a fire safety inspector just to photograph children at work. Images of a girl at a cotton mill in South Carolina and boys breaking coal in Pennsylvania helped convince Congress to change the law. These photographs changed history. The photo shows a horse knocking down a woman, June 4, 1913. Emily stepped onto the racetrack in front of the king's horse during a race and was struck at full gallop. She was making a radical act of protest for women's rights. Lunch on a skyscraper, 1932. 11 construction workers eat sandwiches while sitting on a steel beam 850 feet above Manhattan. No safety harnesses in the middle of the Great Depression. Migrant Mother, 1936. The woman in the photo is 32 years old, a mother of 7, living in a seasonal worker camp in California. The image ran in newspapers and sparked an immediate government response. 20,000 pounds of food were sent to the camp. Shanghai, 1937. Japanese planes bombed the South Railway Station, where around 1,800 people were waiting to be evacuated. The photographer also captured a crying baby sitting alone in the rubble. Within a month, the image had been seen by more than 136 million people. 1942, Crimea. After Soviet forces retreated, women walk across a battlefield searching for their husbands, fathers, and sons. For decades, the photo sat in archives. Soviet censors didn't want images of defeat made public. June 6, 1944. American soldiers wade through water under fire off the coast of Normandy. The photographer shot the backs of men moving forward. On that day, during Operation Overlord, thousands of soldiers lost their lives. Prisoners at Buchenwald, April 1945. The photo was taken 5 days after the camp was liberated by American forces. Among the exhausted men on the bunks was a 15-year-old boy who would later become a Nobel Peace Prize winner. On August 9, 1945, a mushroom cloud rose over Nagasaki. It was the last time nuclear weapons were used in history. On April 29, 1945, Mussolini's body was hung upside down on public display. The dictator who had ruled Italy for 23 years was killed while trying to flee to Switzerland. On May 2, 1945, a Soviet photographer had brought a flag from Moscow, sewn together from red tablecloths, and staged a shoot on the roof of the already captured German Parliament building. Before publication, extra watches were removed from the soldier's wrist in the negative, signs of looting. The head guard at Buchenwald, known as the Beast, testifies at trial in 1947. The war crimes trials against camp staff became one of the first legal cases establishing that following orders is not a defense. The hurricane of September 8, 1900. A wave nearly 16 feet high flooded the entire island, claiming between 8,000 and 12,000 lives. To this day, it remains the deadliest natural disaster in U.S. history. Around 1909, an opera singer was photographed in the role of a queen, a rare image from a time when an opera star commanded the same kind of mass adoration that pop stars do today. In 1901, a Brazilian aviator flew his airship around the Eiffel Tower and back. For this, he won a prize of 100,000 francs and gave the money to his crew and to the poor of Paris. In 1906, Edward Curtis photographed 4 Hopi girls on a rooftop in their village, looking down at ceremonial dances below. This 1892 photograph shows a mountain of bison skulls at a factory in Michigan, waiting to be ground into fertilizer. Over the course of the 19th century, settlers wiped out an estimated 50 million bison. In March 1905, Edward Curtis photographed Geronimo the day before the presidential inauguration. Around 1929, in Alaska, wooden platforms raised off the ground where indigenous people stored food out of reach of bears. Entire systems of knowledge about Arctic survival have disappeared along with structures like these. Around 1907, a Navajo weaver works in the shade of a tree. Navajo blankets were more than cloth. They were currency, and they carried symbolic patterns passed down from generation to generation. Thanks for sticking around till the end. It means a lot. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button and subscribe. More videos like this are coming, and trust me, you don't want to miss them.